You're listening to the Heroes Power Hour presented by BlizzPro.com. Your hosts, Balrog fan Zexorus and DJ Tyrant. What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Heroes Power Hour, your Heroes of the Storm podcast, brought to you by BlizzPro.com and partnered with Legion by Lenovo and Intel. How is everyone doing? This is episode 104. We've got a lot on the plate for today's show, but as always, first of all, let's go ahead and introduce the crew. As always, we have a full house tonight. This is awesome. Balrog fan, how are you doing? How has your week been in gaming?
Pretty good. We played a bunch of Hero League games before the show. That was a lot of fun. We went 3-1?
3-1, yeah.
Not bad, not bad. We lost to Grandmaster Cho'Gall Aerial pre-comp, so whatever. But that was fun. I bought that Friday the 13th game on Saturday, and I've been obsessed. You guys all know that. I'm just sharing it with the audience.
Yeah, I might have bought it as well. Oh my goodness. But yeah, Zex, how about you? How have you been? How's your gaming been?
I'm annoyed with Heroes right now.
Yeah?
Like, I know we had this discussion in our chat beforehand, but I go 7-3 in placements, and then I end up in the exact same position as I did last season.
Yeah.
Like, almost down to the point. Because I was about 100 points away from Gold 1, and I'm 66 points away from a promotion match. And that... I don't know, that kind of just rubbed me the wrong way today. But no, I picked up Friday the 13th as well. I haven't had a chance to play it just yet. I am looking forward to it. Maybe I'll play it after the show tonight.
There we go.
But other than that, I mean, like, Heroes feels really good for me right now. I feel like I'm in a good spot in terms of tanking. I think I'm in a rare spot where I can actually move up for once, but
That's
we'll
awesome.
see how that goes.
Yeah, definitely. Artifice, how have you been? It's been a little while since we've
Hello.
been able to have you on the show. How are things?
I am back. Dun dun dun. I am well fed. I think I ate my weight in barbecue out in St. Louis. If anybody is there or is going there or is planning on going there, go to Pappy's Barbecue. It's the best I've ever had. Probably the best you're ever going to have. The kind of ribs that you just fall apart when you touch them. And City Museum is really cool. Brings out your inner child. It's got caves up 10 stories into the building. Real nice place. Gaming wise, I'm excited about one thing only. There's a new Murky skin coming out, finally. Makes me so happy.
All the Murky mains out there rejoiced.
It's his first skin, and I don't even know how long.
The
he
bunny
hasn't
skin
had
was
one.
the last one.
Yeah, and that was like
a year and a half
month
ago, 2 years ago?
released. Yeah,
That was in the
this
beta.
is-
That was
Was
for
it in
sure in the
beta?
beta.
So
Oh my
that's how
gosh.
much love he gets as far as skins goes. So I'm super excited for that. And of course, everybody and their uncle is going to get the Whimsyshire Cloud. Just which one are you going to get?
Good.
It's amazing.
So good.
The only thing that would be better than that is I always joked about there being a Care Bear Sergeant Hammer skin where the cloud is the tank and it shoots rainbows. So that's as close as I'm going to get to that.
Mhm.
So it's been good. I haven't done my Hero League yet. I've been doing the reset of Overwatch because of the anniversary event, and I'm excited for whatever the next crossover is. Diablo, right? With the Kerrigan wings and the new mount.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's actually, I believe, the same mount that's been in the game for a while. It was an older cross promotion with Diablo where you got a seasonal character to 70 and you got Malthael's Charger in Heroes. So they're giving it again, I guess.
That's good. Are the Kerrigan wings new? Those are pretty sick.
I don't know for sure. They might be. But yeah.
Yeah, that's been good. Not too much gaming because I just got back. We had our annual festival, and I work with Chef Emerald. He was in town for the week. That was fun.
Got badass over here.
No kidding.
P Flame G, how about you? How's Heroes been, or have you been StarCrafting it up again, or what are you up to?
Heroes has been good. Now that I have like a 40-hour a week job, I can't play 6 different games at once. But I played some Heroes with some friends, and one, he's kind of experienced in MOBAs, but hasn't played a whole lot of Heroes at all. The other one is Koopler, who's been on the show quite a bit. And I think he finished his Team League placements around Silver, and the other guy was around similar. So I queued with them in Team League. And first game we played, the enemy team didn't soak bot lane on Haramura. It's a 2-lane map, and they forgot to soak a lane.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it was something. So that was, we joke a lot, easiest game of my life on the show. That was probably the easiest game of my life. They just like handed it to me on a silver platter. It was just kind of shocking when I get like thrown back into, here's what like the depths of Silver looks like. It's like, oh, this is a lot different from my Hero League experience. And I can see why people get really mad at their teammates.
Yeah, it does happen. I took a look at the wings that are coming out again. Those are definitely new. They did have wings for if you bought
Mercy.
They had Mercy, but they also had Kerrigan wings for if you bought Heart of the Swarm, I believe. But they look a little different than those, so there we have it. But my week in gaming, been playing Heroes, it's just started playing Friday the 13th today, got on that train. It's been fun to play something a little bit different, but yeah, the Team League games we played today were really fun. I think I played like a different hero each game, so that was pretty fun to flex like that.
I caught the end of your last one. You were pretty far ahead of the other team.
Yeah, we got really far ahead, and
I started feeling myself pretty hard there at the end. It was...
Yeah, it's hard for Zex to do that. But yeah, anyways, continuing the trend we kind of started last week, we're just going to go into an interview that we were able to do with Erho, formerly of No Tomorrow, and I really liked this interview. I feel like we got a pretty decent amount of info out of Erho, and he's really candid about the HGC system and what happened with No Tomorrow and his future plans for Heroes. So we're going to go ahead and play that for you guys right now, and we'll see you on the other side about half an hour from now.
Hold on real quick. Heads up, my mic is kind of soft because I touched my mic right before we started. Yep. So if you can't hear me that well, that's my fault. I'm really, really sorry.
But yeah, we'll see you in a little bit. Hey everyone, welcome to the Heroes Power. We have another wonderful interview here with Erho, part of the HGC Pro. Things have changed up a little bit though. How are you doing, man? It's really good to see you. Thank you for taking the time to interview with us and give us a deeper look into HGC.
I'm doing well. I'm glad to be here. So eager to answer your questions.
Yeah, definitely. So like, the one we've been kind of asking everyone is, how do you feel about the structure of HGC versus how it was before? I know you were part of Naventic pre-HGC, and you were part of No Tomorrow during this first half of HGC. Just what do you think of the way Blizzard's running it, I guess?
I think the way they're running it now is much better. I think it's a more structured, reliable source of income for the top 40 players. But previously, it wasn't ideal for a 7th or 8th or even a 6th or 5th place team to make a reliable income off the game, but now it is. So, and of course the incentive is still there to do well in the league. So I think they've done a good job. First and second place, I believe, gets paid more just for placing. And of course, if you go to any of the regional or world level events, you get paid even more. So the incentive to do well is still there. But yeah, it's better than it was before, obviously, as a competitive community in a whole. So.
Okay. All right. Cool. I believe we touched on this with our interview with Bad Benny, but what are your thoughts on the current meta?
Well, I mean, I can only really speak to the meta that I experienced in HGC, because up until the last week, I believe we were on previous, like, almost 2 patches behind.
Mm-hmm.
So the meta is kind of a double tank. It hasn't changed a whole lot, but I think with the PTR with Malthael, I think we'll start Melfs being changed. So we might see a little less double tank, but I'm not sure. But I can only, like I said, I can only speak to the HGC patches I played on. But the meta, I think, is good. I think it's a lot better than what it used to be. I don't like the fact... The only thing I would actually change about it is I don't like how long the fights can be because of the double tank. I actually prefer the meta back about a year ago, where if someone's out of position, you're just dead. Even a little bit. I prefer more of the burst style meta. So with your healers being prevalent, I don't like Oriole style healers that can, if you don't take care of her very quickly, she can just heal a fight for 20-30 seconds. I think it's just not good for viewership, not good for a player. So those are my thoughts.
I do always enjoy seeing the pickoffs and stuff like that, and that dictating a course of a game entirely. That's always watching someone just get punished for being out of position is pleasing to me as a viewer.
And that has a lot to do with, they nerfed stun durations, they nerfed the damage on a lot of the mages. So they nerfed a lot of mages. So that just has a lot to do with that. They took out burst damage and they kind of increased the more sustained damage playstyle. Yeah. It's very hard to run a comp without having a good sustained damage in it right now. I can't see a good competitive composition that only has Jaina as a damage healer. Whereas a year and a half ago, if there was just a Jaina on a team for damage healer, you'd be like, oh, Kerrigan Jaina, that's a really good comp. Now it's just like, well, if they don't kill someone right away, the game's over. So.
Yeah. And I agree with you. I don't miss the lockdown comps. Those were just absolutely silly at times.
Well, I actually liked that a lot. I thought that had a much more. I thought that had a much more mechanically, I guess, rewarding playstyle for a pro player. Maybe not for the average player, but for a pro player, if you knew how to A, land a skill shot, and B, coordinate well with your team, you could always kill someone. Now it's just like there's so many ways for people to survive. It's just like,
Yeah, I know chaining
stuns. It just changes the way the game's played for a pro player. Probably for the average player, it's a lot less punishing if you're out of position, which is good for the average player. I'm fine with it. Something I prefer.
Right. Yeah. And chaining stuns is something that I was used to seeing in other MOBAs and stuff like that. So like seeing, and while it was really bad at times for whoever was getting stunned, sometimes they could survive. But like heroes, it's just catastrophic. You eat 4 seconds of stun, you're gonna die. Pretty much.
Yeah, I don't even think getting stunned for 4 seconds is a thing anymore. It used to be. You used to be able to take like Kerrigan ETC or something, or Murd and Tyrande, back when Murd and Tyrande was a thing, and they'd be stunned for a full 3 seconds from 2 basic abilities. Now I believe if you do that combo, you're stunned for a full 2 seconds. So, like I said, less punishing, and they took a lot of burst damage out. So.
I wanted to go back real quickly on something you had touched on. It was actually a question I had, but I could bring it up here. What are your thoughts on the patch cycle in HGC? Did that really affect your ability to scrim other teams? I know you guys were mostly scrimming HGC Pro teams, but anyone outside of HGC Pro, was it really hard to set up scrims with them at all?
We didn't really look to set up scrims outside of HGC. Not until we realized that we might be getting Crucible, we started playing. We started playing amateur teams, but even then, the amateur teams would come onto the tournament server and scrim us because they knew that we would be playing on the tournament server anyway. So during Crucible, I liked it. I liked having a steady, stable patch. They changed it up towards the end where they started doing more recent patches. I didn't like the abrupt change. I thought they should have just waited till next season to do the change. But that's, like I said, my personal flavor. They kind of approached all the players on an individual basis, like through email. what do you guys want? And everyone agreed that we wanted more up-to-date patches so that the viewers, but I don't like the way they implemented it, which is at the very end, all of a sudden they just threw us on to Diva patch, I think it was, without Diva being enabled, which was a huge change because there's a lot of meta heroes that were changed, like Varian, I know off the top of my head, they nerfed some of his Ws during that patch, so having to adjust to a meta so quickly is always bad for a professional player. Maybe not so much for a viewer because they're seeing a version of the game that they're used to playing, but if you put yourself in a pro's position where we've been playing 2-3 patches in the past, and all of a sudden now we're on a patch that, 2-3 patches in the future, there's so many changes we got to go back and account for. So, yeah.
Kind of a side question to that. When you guys, now we've all seen the Tournament Realm on the launcher. Is that where you guys do your scrims from?
Hmm?
Okay.
Tournament patches.
That just occurred to me. So, a question you mentioned, No Tomorrow getting crucibled and easily surviving that particular fight. How do you feel about Even in Death coming into the HGC despite losing their Crucible match?
Rules are rules. Basically, B-Step was a team that, they just seemed to not be performing to the standard they're used to, so obviously they're going to make changes. Unfortunately, the changes they decided to make were K1 and CAF obviously left and went to GFE. iDream left and went to Naventix. So the rules are rules. If more than 2 people are removed from a roster during a roster swap, it's just eliminated. I think that Even in Death deserves to be there. As of now, based on how they're preferring the Crucible, no. But can they improve and deserve that spot? Yes. Okay. So those are my thoughts on that. I don't think they deserve to be there as of now, but they're given a very unique opportunity to prove that they do belong there. So let's hope they can change things around there.
Very diplomatic answer. I like that.
Hmm.
Go ahead, Jimmy.
Speaking of No Tomorrow, so can you explain a little bit of what happened with that situation? Obviously, you've been let go from there, and from there, what are your future plans for Heroes? Are you trying to get onto another HGC Pro team? I know you can only say so much, but are you trying out for teams right now?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying out for Superstars. They're doing roster swaps. That's pretty public knowledge, so that's who I'm trying out for now. If I don't get on, that's the only team that hasn't locked down their roster yet, so if I'm not able to get onto that roster, my plan is to make an open division team with a lot of the talent that's floating around, obviously, because a team disbanded and then an amateur team got in, so there's a lot of floating talent, and they did a bunch of roster swaps too, so that's my plan there. And as far as me getting removed from No Tomorrow, we knew we needed to make a change. I wanted to make a change that didn't sit well with the rest of the team, so obviously I'm the best option to vote off. So that's honestly what happened. During the first course of the season, Tiger, JK, and I butt heads a lot, but we were actually able to kind of mend that relationship, and it showed during the second half. We played very, very well, and Tiger, JK, and I didn't have any disputes whatsoever. So a lot of people said, well, Erho and Tiger didn't get along or something. We got along fine in the end. What ended up happening is that I wanted to make 2 roster swaps for 2 people on our team, and those 2 people kind of want to keep their spot. I don't blame them. So their option, instead of improving, in my mind, our 2 weakest links, was to just remove me, so there would be no,
no opposition to that.
no opposition, because it's good for them. It is, because you don't want to have a team that has any animosity on it, and if I want to remove 2 people and those people want to stay, and the rest of the team want those people to stay, you know what I mean? So it's just like, it's me or them type of thing. So that's what they're going for.
So
I personally think it was a poor choice, but that's up to them. I think they'll do fine. Sure. I think they'll do fine. I think they'll still retain their HGC spot. I really think they will. Especially with Equinox being picked up, they vastly improved their melee flex spot by quite a bit. I believe their melee flex Casanova is now playing tank, so if he can pick up that role, they improved as a team overall, in my opinion. So,
yeah. So, kind of a bit on that. What do you feel about the volatility of HGC? And it seems a lot more volatile than even EU or other regions. But is that just how competitive North America is, that it's hard for a lot of these competitive people like yourself to work together, or just when you all have different directions you want to push the team?
I don't really see much of the volatility. I think there's more egos in NA. I'll tell you that right now. But the HGC roster locks have kind of forced us to work together as a unit, and I think it's kind of been a good thing in a way. I'm glad that they allowed 2 roster swaps eventually. They're only originally going to allow 1, I believe. So,
yeah, I remember hearing that was something Naventic had fought for, was the 2 roster swaps.
Yeah,
they were
was
kind of the leader of that.
Of it as well.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
I actually had like a Reddit thread on a big rant on it, and it's the closest model I can bring to HGC is the LCS, and LCS has already gone through all these growing pains, and LCS Riot realized through their LCS that 2 roster swaps, you can maintain majority roster, and you can still get fresh new talent into all these teams. So I'm glad that Blizzard came to kind of the same decision.
Yeah, it definitely seems a lot more stable, especially when you compare it to the Dota scene, where after the major, there's just every time huge shakeup. International, giant shakeup. So it's kind of nice to see, like, yeah, you can call it a roster apocalypse, but it's much less. It's kind of like an earthquake rather than the world falling down around your ears.
Right.
Let's switch up. Let's get into you a little bit. Let's learn about Erho. How did you decide that you were going to be a tank main?
I kind of accidentally fell into it. At the time, historically in North America, there haven't been a lot of really good tank players. I guess and melee players in general. When I first started playing the game and decided to try to take it a bit more seriously, every roster was looking for good melee players. So I just kind of fell into that role. Originally, I wanted to play support as my favorite role, but quickly learning about the competitive scene in North America, they needed tank players, so there was. I haven't been able to get out of the role because usually when I try out for a team, it's just like, well, we need melee players or melee flex or tank players, and then okay, well, I already play that, so it's never like we really need a support player, you know. So
that's fair.
Yeah, definitely.
Are there any here based on this previous HGC meta? Were there any characters that you were kind of sad that never showed up? Like, were there any comfort heroes that you wanted to play that just you never got the chance to?
Stitches. I mean, I didn't really get to play. I'm a little upset that my role, I couldn't really play Dahaka. I still feel as if I'm the best Dahaka in North America, and I feel like as if I'm the best Stitches in North America. Unfortunately, the way North American meta works and the way my team was functioning, I couldn't really play Stitches. I usually always had to be on a stun tank like Murden, ETC, not so much ETC, but like Murden, Varian, Anubarak, stuff like that, because that's just what my team needed me to play. So.
That's fair. I like that answer. I like playing Stitches. I like playing Haka too. Haka's fun.
Yeah. Speaking of ETC, that probably was one of the more interesting moments in HGC. I believe you disconnected in the bot ETC. Or was that? Or was Murden?
It was Murden, yeah.
Murden, yeah. What happened there? You just was it a power outage or internet?
My power
issue,
supply
or?
decided to go bad. What ended up happening? Originally I thought it was my processor or my new graphics card. I just bought a new GTX 1080 Ti. I just overclocked my processor. Everything was running fine. I stress tested the whole system for like a day, and everything was running fine for a few days. And then during the game, my PC just like shut off. No blue screen, just completely shut off. It rebooted fine, and then it did the same thing in the next game, and then nothing would boot up. I was like, oh crap! I either fried the chip or something bad happened. Ended up just being the power supply. Luckily, I have a couple of graphics cards sitting around, so I was able to narrow it down to the power supply. So we're good. Went out to the next day to Best Buy, bought a new power supply, and everything works fine.
There you go.
God, that's awful.
Yeah, and it was actually Murabot. And the situation we were in, we actually had the game fairly secured. We kind of almost had them checkmated because we were so far ahead in structures on Sky Temple, and all we had to do is make sure they didn't start boss and take boss. They had a better boss control comp than we did. I believe they had like Tyrael and maybe Falstad. I can't really recall. I think they had Tyrael, Falstad. So they had a lot of ways to secure boss if it were to die. So all we had to do in that position was just to make sure they didn't do boss for free and contest them if they did it. So and then basically play temples. So luckily the Murden bot wasn't completely useless. I was probably out of everyone on my team, I was probably the best person to disconnect, because it's really hard for them with their comp. I remember I think they had like Zera or something. I can't remember. It's really hard for them to kill Murden, basically.
Yeah.
Even a Murden bot will push R at a certain percentage of HP and then use his passive. So.
That's great. So, what kind of so growing up, what kind of games did you play?
Oh, my first game I ever really played, to my knowledge, was the Sega Genesis and Sonic. So I started out playing platformers like that. I was given the choice as a wee lad between a Nintendo and Sega. I went with Sega, so I kind of regret it now as an adult. Kind of wish I had the more Super Nintendo experience as a child, but then I started playing PC games. Age of Empires, Battlezone. I don't know if anyone remembers Battlezone.
I
Battlezone
remember
2.
Battlezone. We're reaching back a ways. You're in your 30s, aren't you?
I'm actually 27. I'm turning 28 in a few months.
Okay, all right. I'm 36, and like I'm sitting here thinking, wow, Battlezone. I haven't heard that game in a minute.
It's in the Age of Empires, the original one. So I started out with RTS and action RTS, and then I kind of fell in love with the RPG genre with World of Warcraft. So I was already a fan of stuff like Earthbound for Super Nintendo. I liked the RPG genre; it was really cool. So obviously, I fell in love with PC games, MMORPG. So
I have a question. Since you were a Genesis kid, did you ever play the Phantasy Star games?
I didn't have. I actually turned into more of a PC / PlayStation kid when I got into my teens. Because, like I said, I really liked the RPGs, and the only system that had like RPGs on it was PlayStation. So no, I didn't really get a chance to try out Phantasy Star. I have heard of it though. I know it's an RPG for the Genesis, so
it's a good one.
I've heard good things about it. Yeah,
I speed run Phantasy Star 4 in my spare time. So
gotcha.
Let's see. What else? Jimmy, you got some more questions for us?
Yeah, I guess more on games you played growing up, and I guess more recently. What was Heroes your first competitive game, or did you try playing competitively in other games before Heroes?
So I was actually a lot of people actually know me from Guild Wars 2. I was considered during launch and some months after the most popular streamer to stream that game in the PvP area of that game. I was pretty competitive in that game during the alpha, beta, and during launch. Fortunately, the game died. So that was my first, I guess, real dedicated competitive try. And then I've always been really good at MOBAs, but I've never really given it the good old college try to go competitive. So Heroes came out, and there's a lot of hype around the game. So I'm like, sure. I'll invest. I was at a point in my life where I was pretty secure financially. I didn't have a whole lot of obligations IRL, so I was just like, well, I'll give Heroes a try, and it ended up working out. So.
What follow up to that? What's the appeal of Heroes to you personally over other MOBAs?
To be honest, it's just the biggest draw for me is the shortened game length. I know at first I didn't like it because I came from League and like I played a lot of Dota on the Warcraft 3 custom engine and all that stuff. So it was a big adjustment. I didn't like it. The only thing that drew me in at first was the heroes and the hero design. So Arthas is in the game, and like all these heroes, all these characters I love from like other Blizzard games were in this game. And the first thing that initially drew me in was the hero design. And then as I started liking the heroes more and more, I started to enjoy the maps, So that's what initially drew me in.
Nice. Going back to HGC as a whole, and what's coming up this weekend is the midseason Brawl. What are your thoughts on it? Do you think NA or any other region has a chance to kind of challenge the leadership of China and Korea right now as far as the top dogs and professional heroes?
So historically, Koreans and Chinese have always been the strongest regions in Heroes of the Storm. I don't know what happened to North America. We were able to contend with EU, if not do better than when I played. I remember the Worlds at Korea that I attended. We did better overall as a region than Europe at that tournament. So I don't know what happened. I don't know if NA itself just got. I don't know how that happens. I've never been in this situation before where I see a region that performs equally as well, if not less than. And then, all of a sudden, maybe it's the rosters that win, but we've never been as bad as a region at world tournaments than we have in recent year. I don't know. I wish I had a better answer for you. I honestly don't know what happened. Because I wasn't in... Because I after Tempo Storm, I took a 6-month break from the game, and I came back, and all the rosters, like the top teams, were full of players that were originally like on like the middle of the pack teams, and I don't know what happened. Like K1 Calf and iDream were on like a middle of the bottom of the tier team. I have no idea. So maybe they didn't practice as hard. I have no idea. I wish I had a better answer. I could be completely wrong. Maybe saw one of those guys and in theory they just got way better at the game, which they did. They've gotten better. So, and we just as a region haven't evolved as strongly as EU. Maybe EU has a bigger player base. I don't know. There's so many variables that could. I don't want to give the wrong answer. So
okay. What do you think NA can do to improve? Is it an infrastructure thing? Is it maybe a coaching thing? Where do you see areas that the NA as a whole can improve?
I definitely think it's mostly the thing that's holding NA back right now, in my opinion, is definitely the infrastructure. There's not a whole lot of org support in NA compared to other regions. Korea doesn't have a lot of org support, but they have a much better culture for it. And a lot of times, and their, I believe their version of HGC is done on a LAN. So they play on like no lag. So it's a much different culture appropriated thing to do this in China or Korea. And EU has much more support on the top end for their top end teams. I mean, I think Dig and Fnatic and Liquid are all involved, whereas in North America, the top dogs aren't even touching Heroes of the Storm. C9 left a while ago. TSM hasn't touched any, like Echo Fox is not involved. All the big name MOBA brands you expect to be in this game aren't here, so we aren't getting that top tier support that other teams are getting. So. Or other games. So
that's a very good point. Now that you bring that up, there's no. The biggest name team that I can think of off the top of my head is Naventa. That have
Tempo.
I would say.
Tempo is the big one.
Tempo is one of the big ones too. But to be honest, outside of Hearthstone and some fighting games, like I don't know much of Tempo. Presence outside those other disciplines.
Hearthstone. They're huge in Hearthstone. Yeah,
huge. They sponsored a fighting game player, Chris G, there for a while, and he's moved to Evil Geniuses since then. But you're right. You're 100% correct on that. There's just not that big name support that you would expect.
And I think orgs are just hesitant to get involved because there's not a lot of return on investment. I've spoken to being in the HGC. I mean, if you want more evidence of this, Teammate, who's convincingly a second place team right now, getting a lot of in terms of exposure, they're probably getting the most exposure out of all the teams that are in HGC. Still don't have a sponsor. They have Roll20 now, but like they just, having talked to sponsors in the past, they're just like, we just don't see that much ROI, return on investment, on this game. I personally don't see it. I guess it's something to do with like the league, like all the money that is in the league goes to the players. The orgs don't get any compensation for being in the league, so I think that has something to do with it. I'm just not really 100% on why but I guess because in my mind it's like you're guaranteed. I think it's like everyone 15 to 25k viewers on Twitch, and there's a lot of traffic on the website, so I don't see how there isn't an org that doesn't see like even like a $2,000 ROI per month on this. So we even struggled to get orgs to be like, look, we only want like 2,500 3K a month from you guys, and then split it up between the players for salary. And they're just like, no, we just don't see the ROI there. As someone that used to work in parts of advertisement, I just don't see how you can get that many ad impressions and not see the ROI. So I don't know.
Do you think it's something Blizzard needs to explain better to some of these brands, or
I really think Blizzard needs to work harder with these orgs. Blizzard just needs to be like, look, even compensate the orgs for being in it. It's better for. It's easy for me to say that as a player. I don't know it from Blizzard's business end. So, but as a player, it would be much more financially sound for me if I had an org behind me on top of the league. Does that make sense? So it'd make my job more secure and make me more confident as a player, to know that A, I have the org backing me, and B, I have the league backing me. So both financially and structure wise, it's easier for an org to provide us better structure you know, if our mouses go bad, it's like, oh no, you know, I've got an org that can replace it, or you know, oh my power supply died, right? That's a good thing. Like, you know, an org can be like, you know what, we'll get you a new power supply like right now from our sponsor, and we'll you know, we'll send you 2 of them so you have a backup one. You know what I mean? Just, you know, stuff like that. That's how stuff a player doesn't have. So,
a little bit of a side question with the HGC format being what it is, and comparing that to the previous schedule, the previous format where you had more time for LAN events, stuff like that. You know, Heroes at DreamHack, what have you. Do you feel with the current league format being what it is, do you think that it might stifle outside LANs from participating in Heroes? Bloodlust being the exception and not the rule in this case.
I think Bloodlust is evidence that outside LAN. It just has to be Bloodlust, I believe, is crowdfunded, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
So that's a little bit different. You're talking about like if IEM wanted to host a Heroes tournament, like Intel Extreme Masters or something. I don't see the league stifling it. I think I just don't think Heroes is big enough to host that big of a LAN. I mean, it'd be kind of a big investment for a third party to host a LAN. I don't think there's any rules saying that from the HGC saying that there can't be any LANs that can invite the top 8 teams. I don't remember reading that. So
I think
it's just a matter of the ROI thing, right? If we have a huge Heroes LAN here, is that going to draw an audience to our convention? Because that's what it basically is. It's just the way to draw an audience and get an ROI. So,
and it's interesting that you brought up the ROI because I do work with Beyond the Summit and behind the scenes, and I've been pecking at them for, you know, quite some time now. Hey, you guys should do a Heroes Summit. You guys should do a Heroes Summit. You know, like the Dota Summit, like the CSGO Summit they just had here, you know, recently. And they're like, they kind of hem and haw and, you know, talk about, you know, rate of return and stuff like that. And like they're the last answer I got out of one of the big 2 was that they're waiting to see if if HGC will continue on and stuff like that. And then they might start dipping their toes in the water. So it was very interesting that you started talking about ROI, and that got my ears up about outside tournaments that aren't Blizzard directly related.
Yeah, I mean, if Blizzard, in my mind, if Blizzard really cared about growing their scene, they would bring some of these, they would encourage big name orgs to come into their league, because not only would that, it would help cross promote their league too. Because you have all these TSM fans that are going to TSM, and then, oh, what means, you know, they go on the TSM site to look up their League of Legends buddies or whatever. Like, I'm a TSM fan. I love TSM. I go to their website, and on their main page, you know, TSM HOTS is, you know, going to Worlds or whatever. You know, that helps cross promote their league, you know. So if they're, you know what I mean? I just don't understand Blizzard's. I can't pretend to. I don't sit in their business meetings, so it would be nice if Blizzard's just like, okay, we want to help grow our esport. Let's give these orgs an incentive to come in. I mean, they already have good incentive for their players, but I think it can only help them grow. Me as a player, I would personally, if our orgs got an incentive to come in, I would be okay taking a paycheck cut, because the org would most likely compensate that anyway, on top of the increased exposure. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes total sense. I completely see where you're coming from on that.
Okay, before we go, we kind of we'll try to keep these about 30 minutes or so, but I just want your thoughts. This is a fun question because it's kind of the joke on our show. Is what are your thoughts on Chen, and where does he fit in the meta right now?
You're only going to get a serious answer, and it's. I think Chen is actually, he has a spot in the meta, and he right now Zag. No, I'm telling you when. He's only a solo lane hero, and you only take him if you need to win your lane. Sorry.
It's all good. It's all good.
It's a motorcycle. From Broom. Yeah, I'm right next to like a kind of a busy road, and it's motorcycle season. Anyway, so Chen has a spot in the meta. It's if you need to win a solo lane, and he does really well against Zag.
He does
really well against Zag.
I will.
He is the best hero against Zag, without a doubt. even to the point where he can almost win 2v1 lanes against Zag. So that's the only time I take him. I think
I have a very hard time arguing with that because he brings it up because I'm our Chen specialist.
Okay.
Like that's favorite hero, like, but I've just not had a good time with him recently. But yeah, the Zagara matchup is 100% free for Chen. Like you should barely take any damage in that lane. You're gonna get hit eventually, but like you should just be able to just bully her out of lane and make life really rough for her. So yeah, why did you do that to me, Jimmy?
Only two maps though. Only 2 maps. Dragonshire, she's of course, and then Braxis. Now I wouldn't take Chen on Braxis and Zagara if they have a 2-man. Never mind. Just those 2 maps. I don't want to get too much into the meta, like too much into the professional thought process. But if you know Zag is soloing top, Chen is a solid choice.
There you go.
On those 2 maps.
I realized what was it, and then I joked around with our interview with Bad Benny. I said, basically, Chen is this: you win the solo lane, and then you lose the game.
Sometimes I don't.
I saw Casanova play Chen. My face screwed up in so much confusion. Why are you guys playing Chen? But like
he held the lane down. He held the 2v1, so and then we won the game in I think like 7 or 8 minutes. So
Jimmy, this is your fault.
Yeah.
Why does everyone take a?
I know.
Why does everyone take elusive brawler?
Elusive brawler.
We're against mage camp. Better take elusive brawler.
Yeah, no, elusive brawler actually is good into mages too, because like Chen's a really divey hero, and elusive brawler can dodge like 6 or 7 tower shots if you dive. So.
Okay, that's fair. I suppose. I just.
Anyways, we wanted to wrap it up, but I wanted to have some fun with that. But yeah, any shout outs you want to say to your fans, or anything you want to promote at the end of this?
I have nothing really to promote other than myself and my stream. It's twitch.tv, Erho TV, or you can follow me on Twitter at twitter.com, Erho TV, same stuff. And I shout out to Arthlon, my buddy Arthlon, Zix, for always encouraging me to play Rexar every game, improving me as a player, day in, day out. Zix, what should I play here, Coach Zix, Rexar? I mean, what counter is this here? What should we pick? You guys should have picked Rexar. Thank you, Zix. I mean, so insightful.
That's great.
Well, there you have it. Stay tight, and we'll see you real soon.
Stay tight.
No, but seriously, thanks for coming on and
for sure.
talking.
Had a good time.
It was a lot of good info. Really appreciate it. So there you have it, our Erho interview. It was a lot of fun interviewing him. He gave some really good answers. And real quickly before we move on, I'm curious what you guys thought of the interview and some of the information revealed, especially about the No Tomorrow situation.
That was excellent. I hope all our interviews are that candid. The Bad Benny one was good. I think the Erho one was even better. And that's not a commentary on either player. It's just that he was very very forthcoming. That was cool.
Yeah, he definitely had a lot of eye-opening insight into a lot of things right there, especially involving the organizations and some other, several other things. And he was a really great interview. Like I hope we get to interview him again later on down the line. Yeah, that's all I gotta say.
Yeah, and just thanks, Erho, and best of luck. Hopefully, hopefully we see you in HGC Pro again. Hopefully those tryouts for Superstars go well. But yeah, oh my goodness, who is typing? That is really loud.
That's me, sorry.
Oh my goodness, okay.
Did you not see the Bad Benny interview?
Oh, I did. But yeah, did we just want to get into our build of the week then? I think so. Vexer's volunteered his time to go over this week's build.
His favorite.
Which will be his favorite, of course. Who are we talking about this week, Zex?
We're going to talk about the full Moonfire Malfurion build.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm just playing. We're talking about Chromie.
Bum, bum, bum.
Bum, bum, bum.
Now, if anybody knows me, we all know.
Willie loves Chromie.
Stop talking. Stop.
You're not my real dad.
You don't know that. I don't like Chromie. She's my new Nova, essentially. I only play her when I'm on Mega Tilt, and I don't really care about anything anymore. So, but we'll go over her abilities real quick. We got Sand Blast. Throw a big ball of sand at somebody. It's got incredible range. It's an incredibly short cooldown. It hurts. You don't want to get hit by it. Dragon Breath, bit longer cooldown at 12 seconds. Nice, little small AoE at first. You could talent in to make it bigger if you wanted to, but that's your main damage right there. Like Sandblast, okay, it's a little more sustained, I would say, but Dragon's Breath is definitely your burst damage. That's what usually will get you the kill. Huge range on that as well. Time Trap, drop an Hourglass. If someone's dumb enough to walk into it, they stop, which adds for really amusing interactions. We had it during our Hero League games tonight, where a variant charged into a time trap.
That was pretty funny.
Just stood there for a second, and then as soon as the time trap was done, it continued on.
Yeah, he actually Colossus smashed into a hero, and the way the time trap was, it caught him mid jump.
Yeah, it was a pretty funny interaction. Her trait, Time Walker, you get talents 2 levels earlier than anyone else, which is disgusting. Heroic number 1, slowing sand, big AoE, slow, doesn't do any damage, but it's really, really annoying if you get caught into it. Temporal Loop, 3 seconds. They go back to the spot where you cast it on them. This is almost a sure kill on anyone below 50% health, if you can land your combo. And what you do with that combo is you wait till that timer runs about straight down, about halfway through. You toss your Dragon's Breath, your Sandblast, and boom. Lots of damage. So, we're going to go on to the talents. Level 1, Time Walker Pursuit. Vision is king. And the cooldown on Time Walker's Pursuit is 25 seconds. So every 25 seconds, you can reveal an area, including anything that's hidden. And that is just an incredible value overall. Plus, on top of that, after you gather 15 globes, you get 1.5 extra mana regen and 5% additional ability power. And she already hits like a truck. And so now you've just turned into a locomotive at that point. Level 2, Bronze Talents. Pretty standard. Every time you throw a Sandblast, you get an auto attack damage buff for 1 attack. And it ups it by 250% on top of the 35% additional auto attack range. That's, I mean, as often as you're going to be throwing Sandblasts, it's incredibly valuable to have that extra little bit of follow-up. So, level 5. I go Dragon's Eye personally because of what we'll pick up at 8. Dragon's Breath damages more in the center, and already, 480 damage out the gate, and you add 25% on targets in the center. That wipes out either a backline of creep or will just straight up kill a squishy sometimes, if they're even remotely 60% health. 8, Temporal Loop. This is what you catch people out with. Is someone even remotely out of position? You hit them with this. You wait the 1.5 second, drop your abilities on them, and boom, they're pretty much dead at that point, or they're really wanting to go back to base in a hurry.
Okay, to play devil's advocate here, what's the argument of that over slowing sands?
Slowing sands is more... I would take slowing sands in the case of a melee heavy comp. Just because getting to somebody through slowing sands is incredibly annoying. Especially, if you've got if you're not the only range dealer, they're not going to have a good time. There's a case for slowing sands. I just like temporal loop for that pickoff power that it brings to the table. You may sometimes, like, if you take temporal loop and your only available target is the Li Ming, sometimes you want to kind of guess ahead, because as soon as that Li Ming, unless you can perfectly time it, because that Li Ming will blink out in a random direction, so you kind of got to guess. But it still makes her hope you don't land it perfectly. 11, timeout, but I also like bye-bye. Especially if you have a strong DPS, like bruiser combos, stuff like that. Maybe another DPS behind you, like a Valor or something, because you're really annoying. You're throwing out all these long skill shots, and people want to get on you. And if they do, and they burn their stuns early, and you're still alive, bye-bye is usually enough to get you out. Case in point, Butcher. Butcher charges on you, Butcher brands you, and then you just TP out. And now your Butcher is surrounded by, in a good situation, 2-3 heroes with no way to heal.
Yeah, but can't you just time out his stun and then cancel it and walk away?
But he's still got his Butcher brand on you. So, and he's already on you. I mean, yeah, you could, I guess. But, I don't know. It's more fun for me to bye-bye, because it does save your butt in a lot of situations.
It's such a troll talent.
It is.
Really
I mean,
is.
it's not bad to have a second escape option. It's
I'm not
bad.
saying bye-bye is bad. I think it's good. I just don't know that specific example is an example where timeout's ineffective.
No, you're not wrong. You're definitely not wrong. I didn't say timeout was ineffective. It's just, to me, it's like Jimmy said, it's more trolly in that case, because you've almost got that stupid Chromie dead, and then she just grows wings and flies away like a jerk. So, moving on. 14, Quantum Overdrive. Pop the talent. You get 20% extra spells. Huh?
Blow them up.
Yep, blow them up. 20% extra spell power for 10 seconds. 30-second cooldown. So essentially every 20 seconds, you've got a whole lot of extra damage coming in. On top of once you finish your quest at 1, you got 25% extra. 18, Endor Hall Anomaly. Gives you 3 time traps. It's super annoying. It's like running over Abathur mines constantly. So, like, you're trying to do a team fight. Let's say Cursed Hollow. Okay, crap. I ran into one time trap. Okay, whatever. She couldn't have possibly put one right in front of it. You walk forward, you hit another time trap. And then you eat damage. And then you get time looped. So, like, it can save you if especially if, like, bye-bye fails, just dropping a time trap at your feet sometimes is enough to just stop one person. And then you drop another time trap as you're running.
Do you ever take Past and Future Me?
Yeah, I do take it. I just like the interrupting ability of the time traps. Because, again, you can have 3 time traps out on the field. There's a lot more team fight interrupting potential on the other side if you take that. But yeah, Past and Past and Future Me is definitely, not bad. It's really good. Double Sandblast into people's faces is definitely nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah. I guess just you have all that damage. So yeah, now that I hear you talk about the build with the 25% increase, how much do you need the second Sandblast versus the extra control?
Right.
I just wanted to say, I think last week we did a Mafurian build that was like, this is the build you're going to pick, right? Other talents are just bad. This is a Chromie style. You can make very compelling arguments for options on every single talent tier.
Yep.
Every single talent build he hit was like, but I take this thing sometime else. His build is a very coordinated. I'm going to blow a single person up. That's why you take the bonus damage on your W. That's why you take the bronze talents. That's why you take temporal loop. That's why you take the activate to get 20% AP. Because just your whole purpose as Chromie is to get that one target and kill them.
Right. It's like Pokemon, but with murder. I choose you to die.
Yeah. You can also pick a very poke-oriented, long-range sit-back and do some zone control with your slowing sands kind of Chromie. And you can occasionally mix and match between what you need. So I guess I just want to say that this is a build, and it's a good build, and you should try it out. But don't feel like other talents are garbage.
Well, yeah, so as we were going through this and I'm looking at I was thinking Blizzard really did right by Chromie. I mean, when they talk about wanting multiple builds for a character, she's probably one of their shining examples because all of her talent choices are somewhat compelling. That's basically what you were saying too, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even there's only one talent in Chromie's entire kit I don't like, and that's Fast Forward.
I don't remember what that does.
A long-range Sandblast reduces its cooldown. That's the only one that I feel is kind of pointless because it's already on such a low cooldown. Yeah, but you do get the neat thing about even with that one. The neat thing about that talent is at the if you're not using quick cast, when you press Q and you get that little arrow indicator,
range indicator.
Yeah, the range indicator. Thank you. There's a little line to where it'll show you if you hit past this point, you get the bonus. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, even then they did right by that. So
yeah, definitely. But yeah, that is our build of the week. Let us know what you think. Hit us up on Twitter at Here's Power Hour.
Thank you, Willie.
Let us know in chat. Thank you, Willie, for that build and showing people how fun Chromie can be.
We'll go with that word. Okay,
yep.
Fun. Yeah.
I'm so thrilled.
Yeah. But we did have some really cool news this week. We did have a PTR patch come out with many changes, and also the newest member to the Nexus, Malthael from Diablo 3, is coming to the Nexus. Boy, we're already running late. I almost feel like we should wait to talk about Malthael. What do you guys think? Or you want to offer some quick initial thoughts? Yeah.
Bust.
I'm going to get you back, Cho'Gall.
He's pretty
Just wait till Malthael come out.
First ban every game.
I don't think he's going to be first ban every game.
No,
but
I have no idea.
He's definitely going to punt it. Malthael's the kind of hero that shifts the meta.
Okay,
because if you have a Malthael, you don't want to do double tank.
So, clarifying question. Attacking the same person twice in a row refreshes his trait on them?
Yes.
Okay. You're not going to stack.
No, it doesn't stack.
I think Jimmy might be right with time, though. We can wait till he's out of PTR and officially launched to really, dive into the talents. Because breaking him down and what the impact is going to be on the meta is 30 minutes in itself.
Yeah.
The impact is he's busted.
I can't tell if you're serious or trolling.
I disagree with you, Willie, about the lack of banning because he is the Reaper of Heroes of the Storm, and people are going to ban him just so every 13-year-old with a Reaper fetish doesn't pick him, and they don't know how to play him.
So what do you do?
That's why he'll get banned.
So what do you do when Reaper actually does come out?
I thought we already had Genji.
Yeah.
he really is. He is the Reaper of Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, but
and it's going to be fantastic.
Reaper.
Yes, and he will have more than 4 shots, and then he throws his guns away. Well, swords and what scythes?
Sickles.
Scythes? Yeah, sickles.
think.
There we go.
Yeah, something like that.
Little hand
I will say I haven't peeked at him too much yet, but I do like the skin that comes with him, the package skin, the Grave Warden.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Visually, he looks stunning. He's great. His
Dude, the execute ult, that's sick.
Yeah, it looks great.
That looks so cool.
Yeah, go check out his kit. Check him out on PTR if you can. He is going to be a very impactful hero.
I imagine in a week or two we'll be really jumping into him as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Definitely. I had a couple things I wanted to go over that were really kind of big notes from this patch. There's going to be a map rotation update for the different modes of heroes. Hero and Team League are now the only game modes that will feature a map rotation. So that means all battlegrounds will be available. And everything else. That means versus AI quick match and unranked.
Nice.
Ranked map rotation has been updated to include the following. Don't groan too hard at this first one. Hanamura, Dragonshire, Tomb, Cursed Hollow, Infernal Shrine, Sky Temple, Braxis, Blackheart's Bay, and Battlefield of Eternity.
You know what?
No Warhead.
No Warhead. You're right.
No Warhead.
No
Junction.
Garden.
No Garden.
No Garden.
You know what? I'm kind of bummed that Warhead's going because I'm finally getting good at that map. Like, every time I pick Brightwing on that map, I feel really good. But
you're not getting good at that map.
now I got to get good at Hanamura.
Yeah, there we go.
Good luck with that,
We
Charlie.
won that game today on
We
Hanamura.
did.
So,
We had no business winning that.
There are so many games I have in Hanamura like that where I just I don't understand why somebody won that game.
I
kind of
know why
things
we won that
happen.
game.
And nonsense happens, and then somebody ends up with 0 health in their core.
Yep.
We made a big team fight push when we should have, and we won it, and then we took boss. That was that evened us out and then put us ahead after we took a keep.
Mm-hmm.
It was...
Yeah, Hanamura
We
is
were
one of those
playing.
maps where there isn't really a direct path to win that map, which is it's both good and it's bad. The last time I played it, the only reason we won is I just kept kamikazing until the towers died, and that's how we won. Because nobody was getting anywhere with the payloads on either side.
Are you, I guess overall, are you guys happy with this map rotation? Would you like to see it be less maps, more maps, or different ones specifically in here?
It's a good size. You don't want less maps because then it gets stale.
Mm-hmm.
I could see 1 or 2 less maps. I know we've been playing on more than that for a long time, but it's still kind of big. But you also run into the point when you get really small, not just stale, but there are just so many HGC maps that the pros can only scrim on and can't get Hero League practice in on. So that's the most compelling argument I've seen for not having a map ban.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think it's a more stable environment and makes Hero League a little smoother when you have the rotation.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree.
I'm just glad to see the other maps, I miss Dragonshire. It's really grown on me since the alpha, which that was my least favorite map easily. So but yeah, seeing some maps come back that you haven't seen in a while, that always feels good.
I'm excited for Blackhearts. I know it can be a pretty polarizing battleground, but I absolutely love the way that map plays. So
I'm afraid of it now with Genji being a thing. I feel like he's going to be really good on that map. You're just going to be having a fight around the coin turn-in, and he's going to go, reflect shield, and then blow your team up and take 8 million coins. And
gotta
but then you also
videos.
have Diva bunny hopping around the chest and then flying away with all the coins.
Oh god, yeah.
Oh,
Diva's
geez.
going to be really good.
Oh god, Diva's gonna shred the chests.
Yep.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, Diva seems a lot better than Genji
Yeah.
Yeah.
on that map.
Yeah,
Yep.
for sure. Wait, no, you heard it here first. Wait, that's not much of a stretch. Well, it is. I don't know. They're both equally good. We got a couple of really strong meta heroes in the recent releases.
But yeah, I'm gonna briefly talk about a few other things, but we're not gonna go too in depth on the hero changes, unfortunately, this week. Time constraints, and we gotta talk about HGC mid-season Brawl coming up this weekend and get our predictions in for that. But both of the Storm is basically being eliminated from every hero. For some of them, they are getting reworked. Specifically, Kerrigan has one where she teleports short distance and deals 50 damage to enemies in the area. And you get more shields from it. So that's kind of neat. Thrall is getting a pretty significant rework. I know Elena really wants to talk about that. We'll make sure.
We're gonna have to wait.
We'll make sure to talk about that next week. A lot of stuff is getting turned into quest talents.
We'll have her do a theory crafting build of the week.
Actually,
he's been my main since I played him when he got released at BlizzCon. So like, the more I look at this, the more in depth I'm already like playing like Battleship in my head with his build.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the other big one is Malfurion getting pretty significantly changed. We'll talk about that a little more later too. Probably a good thing for the meta. I am bummed. My build is now null and void that we went over last week. So, but we'll have to go over that a little bit.
Jimmy, you had your 8 months in the sun.
Right,
it's time for Uther to shine.
It's true.
My build is now easier to get to.
Yeah, Moonfire build.
Yeah.
Well, 3 weeks in and one of our builds are already marked invalid, so we're doing good.
There we go, yeah.
A plus, good work, team.
Yeah, but I did want to move on before we take off for the week that the mid-season Brawl is happening this weekend in Sweden. Boy, looking at these groups, it's really, really interesting. They're going to have 2 groups of 6 teams apiece. Top 4 move on to the playoff bracket. Top 2 start off in the semifinals from each group, and the 3rd and 4th place go down to the losers round. So it's a double elimination bracket, but the higher up you finish, the better you do. Because the 3rd and 4th spot are going to start in the losers bracket and not be able to drop back from a game there. Group A, Fnatic, CE, it's from China, MVP Black, Roll20 Esports, Nomia, and Deadly Kittens. Real quickly, what are your thoughts on this group? Who are the top dogs? Who's gonna take the shots?
I mean, I haven't watched a single HGC Korea game, but yeah, I'm pretty comfortable saying MVP Black.
I'm going to say MVP Black and Fnatic make it out in the 1-2.
You know, I find it interesting that everybody is saying MVP Black when L5 is the one who won BlizzCon last year.
L5's not in your bay.
The thing is that's first of all, but MVP Black won the last global over L5
Yeah, and I feel like,
or what? Not
you know
global,
how with
Eastern
all the
Clash. There we go. Sorry.
With the team switches we have, I feel like Korea has a lot less of that. There's a lot less roster switching there.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it's more stabilized, so it's not quite as like underdog coming up out of nowhere there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what kind of magic they got in their brew over there, but until some team raises up and proves Korea wrong, it's hard to pick against them.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree.
They look like they're playing a different game on like a different server. Willie, you're muted if you're trying to talk. You were trying to jump in, and then you were. I've been trying to
jump. I've been trying to jump in repeatedly, actually.
Oh my goodness!
Like I started talking, and Elena started up, and I was just like, "Oh, okay. Well, I see what's up.
I see how it is."
So
it's my turn. You wait.
Are you here for Roll20, Willie? Is that what you're here for?
Kind of. I think it's a toss-up between Fnatic and MVP Black, who come out of the 1-2. I think Fnatic will actually give MVP an actual run for their money for that top spot. That said, I won't be surprised if Roll20 upsets enough teams in order to... they run the field well enough to place in the 2nd spot. I won't be surprised.
Why do you say that?
I don't...
Because, okay, so this goes back to the betting interview. It's a league point format. So they could lose to Fnatic and MVP Black. Let's say, they get 3-0'd. And then Fnatic and MVP Black pull a couple of 1-1s. but Roll20 goes 3-0 through the rest of the field. They could theoretically finish ahead of Fnatic or MVP Black.
Oh, you're right. I did not realize that. Okay, so it's round
it's a round robin.
Yeah,
but the
it's
2
3
games
points.
between the teams. 3 points for a win, 1 point for a tie, 0 points for a loss.
Because I can see Roll20 maybe, like, everyone thinks China's really strong. I don't think they're that strong. I think Roll20 can take a 2-0 against CE, maybe a 1-1. And then it's Nomi and Deadly Kittens. And if, Roll20, pulls 6 points out of those 2 matches, like, it could be a very competitive Group A. It's definitely a group of death.
I don't think it's fair to sleep on China either, to throw that in there. I mean, every time I've seen them play, their meta is just very different. Their playstyle is different, and who knows how that meshes with the current playstyles of people,
Mm.
Well, a lot of people put their hopes on Super Perfect Team last BlizzCon, and they did not perform well. Now, granted, that was a combination team that got kind of thrown together last minute, and
they had visa issues like every year.
And
Chinese teams do.
You can't really fault these guys. You can't really fault SPT for not performing up to standard. If they had more time, I'm sure they would have performed, up to their capabilities. But I still don't think it was above.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't think it would have been above Korea. But yeah, there's a chance Roll20 could come out in the 2 slot.
They could sneak.
They're
in
definitely
there,
not. They're definitely not hitting the 1 slot.
Mm-mm.
I gotta eat a fruit head at some point, don't I, Nep? Just to be completely random, because I was wrong on something.
Oh, I remember.
But yeah, I have 1 and 2 being MVP Black, Fnatic, Roll20, and CE 3-4. I don't see the minor region teams really having an impact here because of the format, but we'll see. Group B, though, you thought Group A was a death group. This is a scary group as well. L5, Tempo Storm, Team Dig, E-Star Gaming, Soul Torturers, and Red Candids. Boy, that's quite the lineup.
Please buff Arthas.
I don't think they exist anymore.
I'm sad.
Soul Torturers has their
Well,
spot.
you know what? No, it makes perfect sense because Arthas did get buffs, so they had no
True.
reason.
They're retired now.
But
Job
Carl
done.
was right. Soul Torturers has the Taiwanese spot here.
Yeah,
they have a couple members from Please Buff Arthas.
I guess.
Not enough for you.
I just like the team name. That's the only reason I cheered for him. I'm like, yeah, that's a great name.
Yeah, I'm going to go with L5 and Dig in the top here. L5 has just been really good all season in Korea. Dig they just have this thing at LANs where they're able to pull off victories that I feel like that a lot of people feel like they shouldn't be able to. And then Tempo E-Star, I feel like the minor regions just are at a huge disadvantage not having their own league systems here. And I feel like they'll really struggle against all the major regions. So I just don't see them either of them getting out of this group.
You think that's it? I'm pretty sure it's because they don't have third guy on their team. That's why they're going to struggle. I honestly wonder how much of that we're going to hear this weekend since he'll be playing.
Oh, it's going to be forever. This is
yeah.
forever. 3-2-3 is still a thing, and that was just numbers typed during a pause, and it's explosive.
Hey,
anytime
that
a pause
decided the fate of
Cloud9.
cognitive gaming.
Right. Cognitive, yeah.
Still,
Oh my gosh.
it's
Speaking of that,
third guy was just as big as Arms.
There is a new third guy that's going to be on the desk this week, and they announced Fan from GFE will be.
Will
on
he be
the
the
desk.
4th guy?
I guess he'll be the 4th guy.
I mean, it was put in steel when it actually came up on the prompter from Blizzard.
Oh
First
yeah.
guy.
I love that Blizzard indulges the community like that.
Yeah, it's a really good thing they did. The way they handled their community, especially in Heroes, is feels good to be a part of this community.
Yeah.
But it'll be a fun weekend. I do hope for an underdog, but I think we're not going to see too much of that because the 5 or 6 at the top have kind of a stranglehold on it. So it'll be an interesting close fight. I do like the close fights and the last second upsets where nobody messed up, but just something happened, like the Genji explosions for the Li Ming laser, like things like that. I want to see stuff like that.
Yeah, I wish we could have saw. I don't know. It's like you said. It's pretty top heavy. It's hard to pick against them. Want to root for the underdogs, but it can't really pick them.
I haven't watched much China, so I can't say which one looks stronger. But I'm gonna expect the top 4 to be L5, MVP Black, Dignitas, and a Chinese team. So I feel like China and EU were kind of neck and neck. NA just seems really far behind, and Korea's above everyone else. And I think Dig just performs on land, so they'll be in over Fnatic.
Some interesting news that I actually just came across. MVP is announcing this is going to take effect after the mid-season Brawl. We already knew that Mary Day was retiring from Heroes, so this will be his last tournament. But coming back to MVP, it's going to be Rich.
Wow!
That raises the question though of who's going to be on support there. So it's going to be really interesting. But yeah, Rich is going back to MVP Black. I'm sure that'll be all very exciting in the second half of the season. But really quickly before we close out, who are you calling to win the whole thing? I'm going with MVP Black. Hard to really bet against them. Powerhour fan?
Fnatic. I think they can do it.
Roll 20.
Artifice.
You talking the Brawl? The whole Brawl?
Whole thing.
Dig won the last one.
Dig won when
Western
only NA
Clash,
and EU were there.
Okay. I don't know. As good as the Koreans are, I want another region to win. I don't want it to be a stranglehold like StarCraft is. So I'm gonna go with Dig.
Gotta believe in my boy.
As much as I love Roll20, I think they'll win the next one, but I think they're still building right now.
The next one is BlizzCon.
Yes.
Oh
exactly.
no! Well, no. There's another.
There's
Brawl.
a Western Clash.
Yeah. Like I genuinely think they're building steam, but they need a little more time to take the whole thing.
Isn't that what we said after the last Clash?
That is what you said after the last one.
You were a little head on the train, and then picking them today makes it even more. So
I think L5 is going to win it. Like Atlanta, I would love for another region to win it, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Fnatic has shown themselves to be pretty scary, though. That's all I want to throw in there.
I'm not saying Fnatic and Dig and probably the Chinese teams aren't really good and can probably take a game or two off of the Korean teams, but I just don't think in a big best of 5, best of 7 series that you're gonna get the upset over MVP Black or L5.
Yeah.
And I hope we're all wrong and Deadly Kittens wins, just so we see that logo everywhere.
That would be insane.
The next couple months.
I
would ride that Nexagon.
That would be the most incredible.
That would be a fantastic Nexagon. Come
gosh.
on.
But yeah, just for context, E-Star Gaming was the highest ranked Chinese team from the Eastern Clash. They came in 4th place behind Tempest, L5, and MVP Black.
So basically they were NA.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh man. Yeah, I think we're gonna close it out there. Thank you everyone for joining us. Final thoughts before we head out. Where can people find you, Balrog fan? You streaming? You doing things? What are you up to?
Yeah, You can find me on Friday the 13th. That's where I'll be. I'll be playing it a lot. So if you want to play that game with me, hit me up on Twitter. I know a lot about it now.
There we
Keep
go.
playing it. Fun game.
Zexorus.
Join me.
Check me out on twitch.tv/Zexorus Heroes. I will probably start streaming again here at some point, considering it's summer break for the kid, and I get to stay up however late I feel like it. So, yeah, find me at Twitter at Zexorus. Got some things coming down the pipe at some point. I'm excited about it, so can't really talk about it just yet.
Cool. Elena, how about you?
Good night. No, I do not have all the fun streaming social media that they do. If you would like to play, can be found on Twitter. I do record messages all the time. I play all the Blizzard games. I also am pretty good. If anyone watching us is planning to go to BlizzCon, I am helping people with their stay plans and their travel plans involving that. You can always look me up for that as well.
Awesome.
So, you're like a BlizzCon travel agent. Yeah.
Yes, I am the BlizzPro travel agent. I actually just locked in someone's hotel today by zooming in on the Google satellite and showing them exactly where they were going.
P Flame G, how about you?
Just find me in game. Hit up the BlizzPro channel. I'll be playing some HOTS this week. Let me know. We can do.
Yeah, and, as always, you can find me at DJ Tyrant on Twitter and Twitch. And that is going to be it for episode 104 of the Heroes Power. We will see you next week as we go over this crazy patch that is coming up. See you guys soon, and stay tight.